Let's go live to the stadium in Bismarck, North Dakota. It's time for Overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Well, thank you, Nick Hallberg, and good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. This will be our final overtime of 2021 due to the holiday season right around the corner. Obviously, a week from today, Christmas, followed by New Year's, so we're going to wrap things up today, and then we'll be back with you after the first of the year, going 100%, as we'll have a bunch of basketball for you coming up on the PSP network. We've still got some left to do for you in 2021, but nonetheless, this will be our last overtime for 2021, and we'll get back with you on overtime in 2022. Glad to have you aboard this morning. We are live from the Stadium Lodge. Hey, if you're looking for a place this afternoon, I know it's going to be cold outside to dive in, and maybe you want to watch and see who the Bison are going to play coming up January 8th down in Frisco, Texas. Is the Bison a victor last night over James Madison, a great football game last night. Well, if you're looking for a place to watch that, Montana State, South Dakota State, well, you can make the Stadium Lodge your home this afternoon as the full-service menu, as Danny and the staff will certainly take care of you up here. Let's take a look at our show this morning. As Rook, we're going to take a quick break here shortly, as we overbooked a little bit today. So in a couple minutes, we're going to bring on the head coach of the U-Mary women's basketball team, Rick Newman. Then we'll talk with Jim Petrick, the head coach of the Legacy Sabre girls basketball team. His team, tough loss last night to the Legacy Sabres. And then we'll talk with Shaun Henderson, the coach of the Mandan girls basketball team. His team, a big win last night over the St. Mary's Saints. And as I mentioned, Legacy, I believe Legacy would lost to Minot last night. I thought I might have said St. Mary's. That was a loss to Minot. Shaun Henderson, his team defeated the St. Mary's Saints last night. And then we'll talk with Bill Shetler, as both those coaches on the road, as Mandan's got to turn around and make the long trip up to Belcourt today to take on Belcourt, and then Bismarck High on the road to Watford City to take on the Watford City Wolves. And then we'll round out the show and the 2021 season. We'll continue our look inside the Hoopster with the editor of the Hoopster, Perry Hanson, as today we take a look at the Class A and Class B boys. Last week, if you were with us, we focused on the Class A and B girls. Well, today we will take a look at the Class A and B boys side of things, as both of those most recent polls have come out on the Class A side of things. We know where that stands, as on the boys' side, Century at number 1. They picked up another victory. West Fargo 2, Davies 3, Bismarck High 4, Minot High comes in at 5. And then on the Class B side of things, Kindred is 1, Enderlin 2. Four Winds Minnewacan, a big win over number 4, Beulah last night. Beulah comes in at number 4, Shiloh 5, North Border at 6. HCV, Hillsborough Central Valley, in at 7, Dunseith at 8, and Flasher and Rugby in at a tie for that 9th spot. So there you have it. We'll touch more on that as we move throughout the show, but we're going to take a quick timeout. We're going to connect with Rick Newman, and we're going to talk a little University of Mary women's basketball. Back with more on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee after this 2-minute timeout.
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zoom, zoom?
I think your quash later valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
Looking at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
Whether you're looking for a full-service financial plan or planning for farm or business succession,
Planning Team Financial Advisors is here to help you work toward achieving your financial goals. With locations in Bismarck, Garrison, and Center, our full-service team of professionals are dedicated to helping you work towards achieving your financial goals. Visit us online, planningteam.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advice offered through GWM Advisors, LLC, doing business as Goss Advisors, a registered investment advisor. GWM Advisors, LLC, and Planning Team Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Let's go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Welcome back to the Stadium Lodge. Scott Woodmansee with you. Glad to have you aboard on the PSP Network. Overtime with Scott Woodmansee as we are live from the Stadium Lodge in Northwest Bismarck, Divide Avenue. Looking for a place to pop in today? I'll make the Stadium Lodge your home this afternoon. And we're going to dive right into our first guest this morning. It has been a few weeks since we've had a chance to talk with the head coach of the UMary women's basketball team. On the line right now, I do believe we've got Rick Newman. Newman, good morning. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Woody. I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, things are good. Happy holidays first and foremost to you and your family. But I know before you get dived into the holiday season, you got some more basketball games to be played.
Got one more day so my kids can get their Christmas presents. That's the message to the team. If you want the Newman kids to get any presents this year, finish the break with a win.
Well, hey, nothing better, Rick, to put all of that pressure for your kids on a group of young ladies at the college level, huh?
Yeah, right, because it's not like they don't have their own problems going on. I mean, we're right in the middle. We're right in the middle of finals week. They had finals on Thursday, Friday. Some of them have a Monday, Tuesday, and then Mary's off. Every other school in the Northern Sun is just coasted into the break. They're all just focused on hoops. We still got kids worrying about a calc final. And we're coming out here on a Saturday afternoon trying to win a basketball game. So such is life at an academically rigorous institution like the University of Mary.
Yeah, hey, Numi, I guess, it's been a while since we last chatted with you, and you've made your way through pretty much the first half of the season. Right now you're 500 overall, 2-4 in the conference, but I guess more importantly, I mean, you look at the last few weeks, and let's just say, and boy, I tell you what, I mean, you front-loaded that road schedule for these young ladies as you go back to the Moorhead game you won at home earlier this month, and then you go on the road, a loss to Northern, a loss to St. Cloud State, a loss to Duluth, all of those on the road. But you turn around last night, you come in, Bemidji State comes in, and let's just say, Rick, a much-needed win for your group of ladies last night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who's the guy that did the scheduling? Fire that dude, right? I mean, unbelievable. We had 10 of our first 13 games were on the road or at neutral site, and those neutral sites, it wasn't like we were playing at the Civic Center, Woody. We were in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Montana, for crying out loud. But it challenged us, and it helped us to grow as a team, I think, and to learn about ourselves, and hopefully some of that growth, came through even in those road losses, because those were all competitive games. In fact, I don't want to rehash it, but, at Northern, we just had one of those just weird fourth quarters where we only scored 4 points and let an 11-point game, slip away that we were ahead. So we really feel like, we had a road win right there, and we just didn't finish the job. But then went up last weekend and played really well at St. Cloud and Duluth, put a bunch of points on the board against St. Cloud, who's one of the best defensive teams in the absolute country, not just our league, and hung 70 on them when they hadn't given anyone more than 51 all year. Just struggled to guard a little bit that night. And then at Duluth, got blitzkrieged early by what I thought was the death lineup of Steph and Clay and KD for the Warriors. They couldn't miss in the first quarter, but we came all the way back and took the lead on them in the fourth quarter, and just again kind of struggled to finish that game out, or kind of maybe ran out of gas a little bit. But then last night, but we had some growth. Like, we really guarded in that Duluth game against a great team. And I thought last night we kind of put it together again on both ends. So it's good to know that when at home we've shown up and we've played really well. Bemidji was picked third in the league, and so that's a big-time win for us. But we've got to – and then the other thing I thought, Woody, for us last night was we did find a little bit of fourth quarter identity. I mean, coming into last night, we were 1-4 in games decided by 6 points or less. And so we were kind of struggling for who are we going to play through in the fourth? Who's going to be that bucket getter? Who's going to make the right decision? Who's going to make a play for us on the defensive end? You know,
right.
Because we've been spoiled the last few years, knowing the ball was going to Lauren Rotunda, Cassie Aspig, or Gabby Bull. Well, now those three aren't around anymore. So it's, you know, who are you going to play through in the fourth quarter? And so I think in the last two games, you know, Lexi Schneider has been the Lexi we hoped would be around most of the year this year. And so I want to just see her continue to be that kid that we can play through, and then the others can make some shots. But, you know, last night it was Megan Voigt. They weren't letting her get her three ball rolling very well, but she's just become so much more than a standstill 3-point shooter. And she made two great back cuts to get us a 4-point lead in the last minute and a half. And then we executed late game defensively, using a foul, making them throw it full court, not giving up a great look at the basket to tie at the end. So I thought there was some real growth last night in a close game in the fourth quarter, where rather than kind of fold or get nervous and not make plays, we went out and made made more plays than Bemidji in the last couple minutes. And that's why we got that big home win. Yeah,
you know, and you talk about, you know, I mean, as well, Newman, I mean, at home, I mean, they're undefeated at home, 1-5 on the road, and 2-2 at neutral sites. So right now it's the road woes, but you know, you get to finish out at home, and you talked about, Rick, you talked about that person to play through in the fourth quarter. I mean, is it Lexi Schneider? I mean, is she the one that's got to become that person, or can you look at a Megan Zander, or maybe, as you said, you're just waiting to find out and see who that's going to be, and did you find it last night?
Well, I think traditionally for us, Woody, we're such an inside-out team that we generally have a better feel when that person is somebody that's inside. Now, again, the downfall is they've got to be available, make themselves available, and you've got to have people that can feed them the ball, you know? So that's the downfall of having the ball have to go inside first. But the positive of it is, again, it just collapses that defense when those people can score one-on-one. You got a chance to get fouled. You got a chance to get an and one to put it in. And then Lexi's such a willing and capable passer that when they are collapsing, she can kick it out. And that's where, you know, we can make some buckets from the three-point line. We are shooting 38% from the field at the three-point line, which is tied for 7th in the country. So I feel like that's what we're used to. That's what I coach best. But again, if it's a kid that can get their own shot off the bounce, we're certainly willing for that to happen too. And Xander's going to get there. It's just, you know, she's playing a little bit differently than she did at North Dakota, and that's just you know, different styles, different leagues, different defenders, different you know, attention being paid to her. But we're working. You know, it's funny. I can't wait to see the growth she has yet this year, but yet over the course of the summer, because by her own admission, since she's been 12 years old, she's never really learned or worked hard on like a, you know, 10-foot pull-up jumper. And, you know, I know analytics-driven people, us included, like, you know, we're not asking you to shoot 16-foot jumpers that are, you know, contested. But what happens when you get to the playoffs, Woody? Those guys like Kawhi Leonard, right? They hit the mid-range jumper because that's the shot that they can get. And so I'll give her a ton of credit. She's super coachable, and the last couple of weeks she's been in doing extra work. But that's where it's at, because right now it's just been a little bit of a struggle for her around the rim. And so we're asking her to, you know, like, you can rise up over these girls in the northern sun. Like, get comfortable trying to, you know, hit that little 10-foot pull-up when you can't get all the way to the rim. And so I think she can get there, and that'll make us even more dangerous. But right now our best bet is playing through Lexi or someone else in the post and just kind of letting the movement and the action and the cuts and the spacing and the passing happen from the post.
Well, and we're just got a couple minutes left with Rick Newman and Newmy. Today you turn around and do it again and coming to town. Minnesota Crookston, 0-6, 1-11, lost their last 7. But certainly, you know, it's not a game that you can take a nap on, because, you know, sometimes these teams can sneak up and get you. But I'm sure that these girls know what's at stake, and particularly whether or not the Newman kids are going to get any gifts this afternoon. We'll know more about that right around 9 o'clock tonight, how the Newman kids are going to fare this holiday season. But again, a team you can't sleep on.
No, for sure, and that's the thing, Woody. I mean, I'm not trying to talk badly about my team, because I love them, but we're not good enough to take anyone lightly. I thought we weren't very attentive at Minot State, and they hung 85 on us, you know, and that was a lesson we had to learn. And today is, you know, you got to validate a great gritty Friday night win over a really good team that had everybody back, plus a D1 transfer that had been lighting it up for them. Like, that's a huge win last night, but it kind of falls on deaf ears if you don't line up and play today. Because these are the ones you got to get. It's real simple, Woody. With the win today, we're going to be in some combination of a tie scenario for fourth place. If we lose, we're seventh all by ourselves.
Hey.
Only the top six get to the playoffs. Now, there's a lot of games left, Woody, and we got a lot of them at home. But, I mean, that's a simple message for me today. It's like, come on now. We're building on something here, and we got a home win. Defend your home court. And, again, Crookston's, they can beat you. The bottom of our league has gotten better thanks to the COVID extra year for kids, because some of the 21 class and 22 class coming up, like, there haven't been a lot of scholarships available because everyone has people back. And so that talent pool of high school kids and transfers has kind of dispersed throughout our league. So the bottom has gotten better. The top is kind of, still really good from where they were the last couple of years. Cause again, they have everyone back. So night in, night out, I mean, it was a 7-point game. It was a 3-point game, I think, with a couple minutes left in Minot last night. And Minot's an improved team this year too. So if you come out today and expect it's going to be a walk in the park because you look at that 1-10 record, it's going to be a lump of coal in the Newman kids' stockings for sure.
Newman, I know you're an analytics guy, but don't tell me you're already starting a scoreboard watch.
It's fun. Like, I know, even my boss is like, one game at a time, Rick. I'm like, I know, but it's kind of fun. I like to check them out and see where we're going, but it just feels that little more urgency because, the old days, like, one of the reasons I got into basketball, Woody, was because everybody made the district tournament, right? So you're like, hey, you could be 0-25 and you could sell that hope. Like, guys, we got a chance. We just got to get hot at the end, right?
Yep.
So I was coaching football. By the third week of football season, your season could be eliminated. And you're like, how do you get these jokers motivated to go, right? But now in our league now, the cutting 4 teams out of the playoffs, you feel a little more pressure on every game.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, Newman, hey, appreciate the time on the short notice or adjust your schedule a little bit. We'll do it again. We'll do it more often after the first of the year. Happy holidays to you and your family, and certainly, boy, best of luck to your ladies and your kids particularly. Because I'd hate to. I'll be looking tonight, Newman, because I'll feel that much better for the Newman kids if you're able to pull off a W.
Yeah, thanks. Well, my present to myself is going to Spider-Man tomorrow if we win. So, I mean, I want to get to that movie, too. So let's make it happen, ladies.
All right, Newman. Congrats. Hey, man, good luck tonight. Thanks again. Happy holidays. We'll talk again soon, all right?
Same to you, Woody. We'll see you soon.
All right, take care. Rick Newman, the head coach of the UMary women, as his team gets underway today, back at it again today as they host Minnesota Crookston. We'll take another timeout. We come back. We'll talk with the head coach of the Legacy Sabres, Jim Petrick, back with more after this timeout on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
This goes?
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zoo, zoo?
I think your quash litter valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
Looking at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
Whether you're looking for a full... Let's go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Yeah, welcome back to the Stadium Lodge. Scott Woodmansee with you live. Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. Glad to have you aboard on the PSP Network. Hey, if you're looking for a place today, watch a little I got some bowl games on as the menagerie of college bowl games gets underway, and they are already started. And if you're looking to watch that other FCS playoff game, make the Stadium Lodge your home this afternoon. Full service menu, drink specials going on. Number of TVs as Danny and the staff will certainly take care of you today. Well, joining me right now as we roll into our next guest is the head coach of the Legacy Sabre girls basketball team, Jim Petrick. Jimmy, good morning. Happy holidays to you, my friend.
Hey, good morning, Woody. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you got it. Well, Jimmy, this thing probably got underway a lot quicker than you expected. Time flies when you're having fun, and just like that, we're already almost a month into the basketball season. Your team right now coming in overall 2-2, 1-2 in the conference. No time to panic yet, but pick number 3 in the Western Conference by the Hoopster. We know coaches don't look at that or put an emphasis on that. But Jimmy, take me back to the start of camp for you guys before you got this thing underway, and what did you feel? Where did you think this basketball team was going to be?
Yeah, Woody, losing 7 seniors last year and 2 of them all WDA kids, Ariana Berryhill, Jaden Baker, that just kind of did a lot of the scoring for us. I knew we'd have some holes to fill, and I knew it was going to take some time. I've been happy with the group we have this year. They work extremely hard. They're very coachable. Our issue right now is we're just trying to find the right lineups, the right rotations. Yep. And last night was a good step forward for us from Tuesday's loss at Jamestown. Last night we battled hard with a very, very talented Minot team, and we came a few plays short, but we're starting to understand, what varsity basketball looks like. And we got some mainstays. Alyssa Eckroth can definitely score the basketball for us. We got 3 very talented seniors. We're just trying to find some kids to step in, fill some roles. And, as you know, Woody, the good thing about high school basketball is you want to play your best basketball at the end of the season. And if the tournament was this weekend, I'd be very nervous. But luckily, we got a few more months to figure things out.
Yeah, exactly. And, certainly, Jim, when you look at that, the timing and sometimes it takes you a month. And I think the big thing, as you said, with a new group of ladies coming in and, losing the scoring that you did, it's more or less finding that rotation. And as every coach will probably say, Jim, it's developing some depth. And with that being said, I mean, are you maybe starting to see some gals that can provide that for you as you move through January into February and then into the tournament time?
We are. And I was telling Coach Schwartz from Minot last night after the game, honestly, numbers 3 through 20 for us from our JV to sophomore girls are all pretty much the same kid, and that's a good thing. Yeah. But it's just tough to find the right lineups. And our sophomore team is 4-5-0. Our JV team is 4-0. They're playing really well. We're just trying to find some kids to step up. We have a 6'3" freshman in Brooklyn Felkley that got her first 2. She played 2 halves last in the varsity basketball for the first time, and she's ready. We kind of wanted to ease her along, but she's ready. She's physical. Hallie Severson, a sophomore guard, got her first 2 halves of varsity basketball last night. She came in and played hard right away. So you're right. We're trying to give, between 12 and 14 kids chances right now to play varsity basketball, and some kids are stepping up. And we tell other kids, if your number hasn't been called, more likely it will be called here shortly, because we want to give everyone a chance to contribute. And then another few weeks here, hopefully we'll have our lineup down to 8 or 9.
Yeah, and Jim, and I made this comment last night is we covered the Mandan St. Mary's game, and you've been in this league and around it for a number of years. And is it fair to say, Jim, that maybe this is probably the youngest that you've seen the WDA on the girls' side of things in a long time? Because I'll tell you what, there are a lot of – you talked about the Minot team. I mean, Mandan's got a couple. They played some starter freshmen, played some sophomores last night, and you guys with the youth there. And, it just seems like it's young all over.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of contributed to some lower numbers for girls basketball. Yep. For some reason, we're just not getting the higher numbers we have been. We've been fortunate at Legacy. We still have 2 freshman teams, a sophomore team, a JV varsity, but a lot of schools don't have that, and so they're having to pull. And there's some talented kids that are coming up. Last night in Minot, their 2 8th graders scored 40 of their 75 points. I mean, I don't know when's the last time you can say 2 8th graders in a varsity game on the road put up 40. And I thought we actually defended them fairly decently. They're just extremely talented. So, credit the coaches for finding these kids and giving them chances. And, Belcourt ended up knocking off Jamestown girls last night. So, it's the Wild West. As Coach Madden always says, it's a grind, and you got to show up for every game, and you got to try and win the home games and put up a good showing on the road.
Well, yeah, and for you guys, we're talking with Jim Petrick, the head coach of the Legacy Girls basketball team. Jimmy, you guys got, let's just call it a short turnaround after last night, the loss last night. You turn around, you got Dickinson on Monday, and then you go into the break, and you don't come back till the following Thursday. So certainly the short turnaround would be nice to go out with a win, but how important is that for you girls, to get back on the floor and maybe start turning this thing in the right direction against the Dickinson Midgets?
Yeah, it's always tough after a loss to have a long wait before you play. So I'm kind of glad we played Monday. We're in the gym here this morning. We're gonna go shoot around tomorrow afternoon too. So we'll be ready for Dickinson. But hopefully we can come out and bring the effort we had last night and just make a few more plays and make some better decisions with the basketball. We don't turn it over so much and get that road win. We can't take nothing for granted. But as much as we talk about winning in March and end of February,
yep.
Winning right now counts too for seeding, for getting chances to be the higher seed at WA tournament or get out of a playing game possibly. So there's a lot on the line, and hopefully we can get a win on Monday.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, there always is a lot on the line. And Jim, as you guys, prepare, I mean, what for Dickinson coming up on Monday, and then you roll into the break and come back. I mean, what is this team? Does this team, is it maybe they've got to find their identity? Is that what you guys need to find right now?
Yeah, the two things we really struggle with is our decision making. Teams that haven't even impressed us, we've had over 20 turnovers a game. And then our shooting's been pretty poor until last night. Our senior Halen Michael had 6 threes. That was nice to see. But we just haven't been able to put the ball in the hoop. And so just getting that confidence and been able to make a few shots early, I think would be big for us. And then, like I said at the beginning of this interview, just our rotation, keep trying to give chances to some younger kids and who's ready to play. And the girls I like about it is they're not going to mope if they don't get the number called. They're just going to work harder so they get their number called the next game. So we got to find the kids that can play, take better care of the ball. And then if we can make some bunnies early on and just see the ball go through the net, that would be big for us.
Yeah, and it seems that we saw a lot of those missed last night. In the girls' game, the shots inside 6 feet, and boy, I'll tell you what, those can add up over the course of the season, Jim. And I tell you what, it maybe has a tendency for the coach to lose a little bit of gray hair when you consistently are missing those point blank range shots.
Well, Woody, I'm bald now, so what does that tell you?
Yeah,
I mean that was about 3 years ago. I realized it's a stressful game. Yeah, because when you get to the rim, you make a play and he doesn't finish it. As a coach, you don't want to come down on the kid because obviously they got to the rim. But it is just a mental thing. We talk about getting Uncle Mo momentum on our side, and sometimes when you miss a few bunnies in a row, it just starts to build, and pretty soon the hoop looks pretty small. So we're doing a lot of shooting drills here this weekend, and I think we'll get there. We got the kids that can put the ball in the hoop. It's just being confident, being ready to play.
Yeah, and boy, Jim, you talk about, when I talk to the boys coaches, and I mean, it seems each and every year you mention the Wild Wild West, and right now I think, particularly with, Turtle Mountain putting a stamp on something last night, knocking off Jamestown. I mean, boy, I tell you what, you've got 6 to 7 teams that they're going to make some noise in this thing, and really that's what makes this thing fun each and every year. I mean, obviously you got Century and Mandan at the top, undefeated, Bismarck High undefeated as well, and then Turtle Mountain, Jamestown, and Mandan. Mandan gets their first win last night. So certainly it's going to be a battle all the way to the end, and that always sets up for a great, great Saturday of the West Region basketball tournament.
Yeah, for the fans, definitely. It's a fun WDA tournament. But you're right, Woody. We hosted Watford last week. We ended up coming from behind to win. They got some talented kids. Seeing Dickinson on film, they play extremely hard for Coach Douglas. It's just you're right. You can't sleep on anybody. If you don't show up, you're going to get beat, which makes it fun for the kids and the coaches and the fans. And you're right. WDA tournament, that Saturday is always the best day of the year, for Class A basketball, because you're going to get 6 teams at the top of their game going at it.
Yeah, for the right to play next weekend. So certainly it'll be fun. I know we'll have a couple games of years coming up after the first year. But, Jimmy, hey, man, appreciate the time this morning. Happy holidays to you and your family. Take care, and we'll see you, hopefully, if not before, we'll see you in 2022, all right?
Sounds good, Woody. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Hey, you got it. Jim Petrick, the head coach of the Legacy Sabres girls basketball team, as his team last night. Tough loss, but they gave him a battle. Minot High comes in and knocks off the Sabres 72-65. And, folks, if you have not seen this Minot High team play, boy, they got a couple of special young ladies on that team in Lily Bell. Boy, she's an 8th grader. She's a tough player. Certainly, I recommend getting out and watching them play because they are going to make some noise this year in the WDA tournament. As we can give you a wrap-up last night on the girls' side of things. Century defeated Watford 79-26. As we said, Minot over Legacy. Mandan knocks off St. Mary's 70-46, a game you heard on the PSP network. And it was Turtle Mountain upending Jamestown 66-62. And now Turtle Mountain's got to turn around and do it all over again today as they host the Mandan Braves. And speaking of the Mandan Braves, we come back on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. We'll talk with their head coach, Shaun Henderson, back with more on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee after this timeout.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
The best part about working at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
If your eyes could talk, they'd tell you life is better with LASIK. No more reaching for your glasses. No more dry eye from overwearing your contact lenses. Right now, Bismarck LASIK is offering free consultations for LASIK procedures. Break free from the daily hassles and expenses of glasses and contacts. Life is clearly better. Book your free consultation today with Bismarck LASIK and see the difference. Call 222-2020 or schedule online at bismarcklasik.com.
Whether you're looking for a full-service financial plan or planning for farm or business succession, Planning Team Financial Advisors is here to help you work toward achieving your financial goals. With locations in Bismarck, Garrison, and Center, our full-service team of professionals are dedicated to helping you work towards achieving your financial goals. Visit us online, planningteam.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advice offered through GWM Advisors, LLC, doing business as Goss Advisors, a registered investment advisor. GWM Advisors, LLC, and Planning Team Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Memories never fade, especially from a high school rivalry game. Hi, I'm Brock Shook with First Western Bank and Trust. Throughout school sports history, the familiar names and faces may change, but legacies live on, achievements remembered. As your community bank, First Western Bank and Trust celebrates your victories with you. We want to wish all the local teams good luck in their athletic endeavors this season. Be safe on the court, field, rink, and in the gym. First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You remember where this goes?
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zzz, zzz?
I think your quash litter valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
The North Dakota Safety Council is dedicated to preventing injuries and saving lives.
And Overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Welcome back to Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. We're live from the Stadium Lodge. Glad to have you aboard this morning on the PSP Network. As you're looking for a place today to pop in out of the cold, well, make the Stadium Lodge your home, as lots of TVs. College bowl games going on today. FCS semifinal game number 2 on today. who will take on the Bison. Will it be Montana State or South Dakota State? Well, that will be determined today. Well, now we roll into our next guest, and we continue our preview look from our West Region girls basketball coaches. And joining me on the line right now from the mall in Mandan, North Dakota, on their way to Belcourt, the head coach of the Mandan Braves, Shaun Henderson. Shaun, good morning. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Not too bad, you?
Well, things are good. I'm sure, Shaun, the next morning's always good after a big home victory, is it not?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it feels good to get that first one, and hopefully we have a few more to continue after this.
Well, Shaun, as you said last night, you go back. You started the season 0-3, tough loss to Cheyenne, and then Bismarck High, and then at Century. But let's go back to the start of this season and the group of young ladies that you had coming back. You lose a gal in Sydney Gustafson who did a lot for that program for you. But I mean, just talk about what you thought the makeup of this team was going to be. When you guys started camp. Back in back in December.
Yeah. Well, and then we even had a little adversity to come back from the summer. Is a guard last year that started for us, Jaden Weiss, tore her ACL late July. So just kind of getting that. So we have a lot of younger girls kind of that we knew that we're going to count on this year. So it's just kind of getting some of those juniors and sophomores, a couple freshmen to kind of start getting back up to that speed and getting their first real varsity experience. I mean, when you lose a player like Sydney Gustafson, I mean, two-time all-conference performer, it's tough to replace.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's somebody that you're going to replace, but again, they come and they go, and that's the nature of the beast. And we saw it last night, and I thought, Shaun, really, at this stage of the game, like any coach will tell you, it's probably a matter of finding that rotation. What's my rotation going to be as we roll into 2022, and I thought last night you played a lot of girls, so you really are getting a chance to get a look at a lot of girls in your program.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of girls last year that just played freshman, sophomore ball, and now they're getting that junior varsity experience. So that's, like you said, I mean, just finding that rotation, trying to get a lot of girls some game time to see who we can kind of shorten up our bench then come tournament time.
And one of those girls that you bring back is a gal, second-team All-WDA last year in Piper Harris. And, we know that she's going to extend her college career on the volleyball court. But boy, I tell you what, when you bring somebody back like that with just the basketball mentality, Shaun, that she has, and having been around it, seeing her sisters come through the program, and there's more to come for you. But I'm sure you're happy about that. But, I mean, how good is it to have somebody like that who's been through the grind of the West Region tournament and played in some big games to be able to lead this young group of girls that you have coming behind her?
Oh, it's huge, and Piper's done a great job of that. I mean, after we lost that Bismarck High game, and she was in the locker room, and I mean, we had some girls pretty down and upset. She said, "Girls, it's a long season. It's a long ways to go. We're going to be improved each day, every game, and get there." So just having that leadership, like you said, of someone who's been through the trenches of the WDA tournament, she understands what the team's going through, how long of a season it is, and I mean, the competition every night. So it's good to have her with that leadership. I mean, she played varsity for 4 years and started for 3, so it's good to be able to count on her for some leadership and be that extension of me on the court.
And one of the things we saw you, as I mentioned last night, Shaun, we saw you play a number of girls, and we all know how important it is, for depth. And now I know the score was a little obsolete last night, 70-46, but in doing so, I mean, are you able to, depth is going to be a key, when you get into that West Region tournament, we all know it. Are you able maybe to finally start seeing some girls that are going to be able to contribute for this team, as you move through January and February and into that West Region tournament?
Yeah, I mean, all the girls we played last night, we feel confident that if any given night they could come in the varsity game and be huge contributors. So it's just kind of finding that rotation and them kind of separating themselves from each other and who we can really count on when we can start playing some of the more teams and getting more games under them. So, like I said, I mean, everyone that we played last night, we felt at some point this year we're going to need to rely on. So it's good that we're getting that depth starting to build now. And, I mean, there'll be nights they'll get to play and nights where they won't. I mean, it's just kind of the nature of the beast there.
Well, and one young lady that I really thought last night that you could see is making some big strides is McKenna Johnson, your freshman starter for you. And, last year averaged 5 points a game, 4 rebounds, 17 blocks last year. But can you see the strides that she's making? I mean, she's still young yet. I mean, and we talk about the girls' side of things at WDA. It's a young WDA, but just talk about maybe the improvements that she's starting to make or has made in that and over the summer leading into this season.
This summer, I mean, she played up a class in AAU, and that really helped her a lot too. And you can just see the strides she's taken on the offensive end. But I mean, 17 blocks a year ago, it's kind of hard to say her defense improved, but I mean, I think that part of her game has improved the most. And it's just her, I mean, like you said, just getting more and more games under her too, and getting those more minutes and her getting to understand a little bit more about her game. But she's gotten stronger in the offseason, so this was a good offseason for her, but I mean, she's still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, she does. I mean, you can see that, but again, as a freshman, certainly I think more importantly, Shaun, it's the fact that of the game experience, and let's probably say she's probably a little bit more comfortable this year than maybe she was. Maybe she settled in at the end of last year, but maybe her comfort level is a little bit better this year, knowing the night in, night out grind of this West Region basketball schedule.
Yeah, you can definitely see the confidence right now with her. Last year, we felt in the semifinal game, WDA semifinal game, she had 19 points and 9 rebounds in that game. And that we felt was really her coming out party of her, people really starting to take notice of her. But now this year, I mean, it's kind of, there's times where I have to even remember she's only a freshman. And it's one of those things where we expect a lot out of her. She has very high expectations for herself. So that it's fun for me coaching a kid like that because I mean, they always want to get better. I mean, she had 19 rebounds against Bismarck High, and we come back, and she's like, I missed a school record by 3. I said, well, now you got a goal next game. So she's very hungry, so it's fun for me to be able to see that.
Well, yeah, and then today, Shaun, it doesn't get any easier. You got to turn around a really, really short turnaround, get on the bus, and make the long trip up to Belcourt, and certainly – it sounds like the Belcourt, this team is making some noises. They got a big win last night over Jamestown. So, boy, I tell you what, as we said, it is a grind each and every day, and you got to get off the bus and play Belcourt. But nonetheless, you think the girls can carry over from last night into tonight?
Yeah, and that's what we told the girls last night. We said, it's good to get that first win, but it's got to be short memory, and we got to go up to Belcourt tomorrow, and we got to be ready to play. I mean, they're playing really good basketball right now, and I mean, it's the WDA this year. I feel is just going to be super crazy with anywhere from that 2 to 7, 8, 9 range. So I mean, it's going to be a dogfight night in and night out, and there's going to be a lot of upsets we feel throughout the year. So every win's going to be very, very important this year.
Yeah, they are. And tonight, you play tonight, and then you're off till December 30th. Now, when I say off, you don't play again until December 30th. You got to mix some practices in there, but certainly it'll probably be a much-needed break because as you turn the corner into 2022, there's not a whole lot of downtime.
Yeah. So that'll be good, too, for us. We get 5 games in then right before that break, and then we can kind of go back and adjust, kind of fix some things that we feel needs fixing, and then get ready for that nice long push into the WDA tournament.
Yeah, well, certainly it was fun to watch your team play last night, our first look at them, and a big win for you. It's always good to win at home, but more importantly, you picked up that first win. And so, Shaun, hey, thanks for the time this morning. Safe travels to you and your team, and best of luck, and hope we'll get a chance to talk again in 2022, all right?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You got it. Shaun Henderson, the head coach of the Mandan Braves girls basketball team. His team victorious last night as they defeated St. Mary's, and they're on the road to take on Belcourt. And Turtle Mountain, team that's 2-1, they got a big win last night, as we said, over the Jamestown Blue Jays. Let's run down the boys basketball scores from last night in the West Region, as Century remains undefeated as they knocked off Watford City 94-38. Bismarck High, a big road win up in Williston as they defeat the Coyotes 104-53. Jamestown knocks off Turtle Mountain 83-62. Minot High knocks off Legacy, and really that one surprised me, 67-46. So a big victory there for Minot High. And then St. Mary's knocks off, as you heard last night, Mandan 80-73. And games today, Century, now they turn around. They're on the road. They go up and take on Williston. Bismarck High up in Watford City. And as we said, Mandan, along with the girls, at Turtle Mountain. So basketball continues today across the state of North Dakota. As we roll on more here on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. We come back. When we come back after this timeout, we'll talk with the head coach of the Bismarck High girls basketball team, Bill Shetler. Back with more after this timeout.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
The best part about working at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
If your eyes could talk, they'd tell you life is better with LASIK. No more reaching for your glasses. No more dry eye from overwearing your contact lenses. Right now, Bismarck LASIK is offering free consultations for LASIK procedures. Break free from the daily hassles and expenses of glasses and contacts. Life is clearly better. Book your free consultation today with Bismarck LASIK and see the difference. Call 222-2020 or schedule online at bismarcklasik.com.
Whether you're looking for a full-service financial plan or planning for farm or business succession, Planning Team Financial Advisors is here to help you work toward achieving your financial goals. With locations in Bismarck, Garrison, and Center, our full-service team of professionals are dedicated to helping you work towards achieving your financial goals. Visit us online, planningteam.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advice offered through GWM Advisors, LLC, doing business as Goss Advisors, a registered investment advisor. GWM Advisors, LLC, and Planning Team Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Memories never fade, especially from a high school rivalry game. Hi, I'm Brock Shook with First Western Bank and Trust. Throughout school sports history, the familiar names and faces may change, but legacies live on, achievements remembered. As your community bank, First Western Bank and Trust celebrates your victories with you. We want to wish all the local teams good luck in their athletic endeavors this season. Be safe on the court, field, rink, and in the gym. First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You remember where this goes?
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zoom, zoom?
I think your quash later valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
The North Dakota Safety Council is dedicated to preventing injuries and saving lives by offering hundreds of safety courses. The NDSC helps workers return home safely every night and make sure schools are ready for any emergency. Our first aid training and defensive driving courses help save lives. We empower people through personal protection courses and operational risk assessments for businesses. We're a private, nonprofit organization committed to making North Dakota's homes, schools, communities, workplaces, and roads the safest in the nation. Learn more at ndsc.org.
Let's go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Yeah, welcome back to the Stadium Lodge. Scott Woodmansee with you. Glad to have you aboard on the PSP Network as we are live from the Stadium Lodge. Glad to have you aboard. And, hey, if you're looking for a place to have some lunch today or watch a little college football, make the Stadium Lodge your home this afternoon. While we continue our preview of our West Region girls basketball coaches, and joining me right now on the phone is the head coach of the Bismarck Demons, Bill Shetler from Watford City. Billy, good morning. How are you this morning?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, you got it. You made the trip this morning, and now you got got a game today. Then you turn around, and the Saints come up following that. But Billy, just 2 games under your belt. I don't know. The December 7th, December 10th, you played. So, boy, a little bit of a layoff for you. How have the girls been able to handle that so far?
Yeah, they're itching to get back on the court tonight. Not having the Williston game yesterday did make a long break for us. And anytime at the beginning of the season, the girls are just battling each other every day in practice. So you want to go and compete against some other teams. So I know they're super happy to finally have a couple of games in a row here. So should be fun for us.
Yeah, good way to round out the first half of the season. And boy, Bill, let's go back to really the start of this thing back in November. When you got practice underway, and boy, when you talk about as a head coach and what you were able to bring back to this team. Boy, I tell you what, you've got a number of gals, led by Peyton Newmiller, all WDA. You've got a number of gals that are certainly able to put the ball in the hole.
Yeah, and just with kind of the style and system that we play, we utilize our depth, and that helps a lot when when we're able to play that depth. We can develop some younger girls and keep girls ready. So yeah, we return a pretty solid nucleus of what we had from last year, and just super excited. Our first game was the first game. It was rough, and we didn't move the ball a whole lot. And then against Jamestown, we shared it a lot better, and we put 82 points up on the board. So the girls have bought in, but I think they're just super excited, and they're confident in what they're trying to do because they've been doing it for 2 years now. So yeah, it's been a good start. Hopefully we can keep it rolling today.
Yeah, 61-54 against Mandan at Mandan, and then Jamestown 82-65. And Mandan gets their first win last night, but Jamestown, a team that really brings back some experience as well, and certainly. That was your last game, but boy, you putting up 82 on Jamestown. That you had to feel pretty good about your team after that one.
Yeah, it's nerve wracking at the start, but after the fact, I'm super happy that we played. These first 2 games, Mandan, Jamestown, 2 very tough physical tests for us right off the bat. So we kind of got punched in the face right away to find out where we were at, and we responded pretty well in both of them. So yeah, hopefully we learned a little bit after that first game and can kind of keep rolling that momentum that we had in the second game.
The one thing you look at, Bill, with your team, and you even mentioned it in the HOOPTER, is that you got to find a way to get some rebounds. You're not a team that's overly tall or can bring a lot of size, but certainly, when you got the quickness you have, that can lead to some good things as well. So, how have you felt about that? The rebounding side of things for your team at this point of the season?
Yeah, and every night, every single team we play, we're going to be outsized. It's just how it is. But I also like the fact that I think every night we're going to have equal or better athleticism and quickness. So a lot of ours is just kind of a nose for the basketball and going and competing for rebounds. Because we're not just going to win them individually. We got to go out there, and if we can speed the other teams up and force a couple of quick shots, then it leads to long rebounds, which again, I like our chances when it's a long rebound, and then utilize that to try to initiate some offense. So we know every single night that we're going to have to compete on the glass, and we got to use our strengths and not settle for the other team's strengths and let them use their size.
Bill, the one thing you said, too, with the number of gals that you have back, 10 to 12 girls, are you going that deep into the bench? And again, I have not had a chance to see you guys this year. What kind of style are you guys bringing to the floor this year?
Yeah, our first 2 games we played 10 both games, but that definitely doesn't mean that's the end of the rotation. I think as we keep building and working, there's 2, 3, 4 more that have a chance to sneak on the floor as well. So, we play a similar style to what our boys play. Yep. We just get up and press and trap all over the place and just try to kind of make it chaotic on the defensive end of the floor. But then we try to calm it down a little bit more on the offensive side, which is sometimes a challenge because when you're playing that, up-tempo pace on the defensive end, it kind of gets you going fast on the offensive end. So a little bit different offensive philosophy on the boys' side, but same defensive stuff. So it's a lot of bodies running in and just playing as hard as they can for 2-minute stretches or so, and then get a breather and get right back and do the same thing.
And do the girls like that style of play, Bill?
They do. They love it. It's funny, like if we're lucky enough to have a little bit of a lead, and I have to tell them, hey, we're going to pull our press off. They just get mad. They're like, no, this is boring. We want to get up and down and run. So they do. And it's crazy to think, but they like practice in that way too. So they've totally bought into it, and it just makes it fun and fast paced and up tempo. So practices don't really drag on when you're out there competing like that. So yeah, they've bought into it and seem to really like it.
Yeah, they make things go by fast. And then today you've got Watford City on the road, and again, anytime you go on the road in the WDA, I know Watford City tough loss last night to the Century Patriots, but today's a new day, Bill, and certainly you got to be on point this afternoon. And sometimes when you have a layoff like you guys have had, might take the girls a little bit of time to get things rolling for you.
Yeah, that's the worry right now is,
yep.
Yeah, they had a tough game last night, but Century does that to a lot of teams. And then, so they've played games. They played Dickinson a couple days ago. They played Century last night. We haven't played for, a week and a few days. So, just trying to shake the rust off. We had a little somewhat controlled scrimmage the other day to kind of get some of that. But yeah, we're excited to get on the floor, but we can't treat it like our Mandan game and just kind of come out there and just run all over the place and not play, the system of basketball that we want to do. So hopefully again, that Jamestown thing kind of taught us a couple of lessons and we'll be ready to roll. But yeah, there definitely might be a little bit of rust that we got to shake off, and we got to do it quick because Watford's got a couple of really talented all WDA type players that can take advantage if we're sloppy in the beginning.
Yeah, we just got a couple minutes left with Bill Shetler, the head coach of the Bismarck Demons. And Bill, the one common theme that I've heard, at the start of this year, and it's all over the state, it seems, is that the numbers in girls basketball. I mean, we're seeing a lot more younger girls playing, coming up from the 8th grade level, the freshman level. What do you find at Bismarck High? I mean, how are your numbers as you go down from into the varsity and the sophomore and freshman levels?
Yeah, our numbers have picked up a little bit. We had a 2 or 3 year stretch where they were really low, but I think they've kind of rounded off a little bit, and our middle school numbers are looking okay. So hopefully we've kind of hit that low mark, and we're on the road to recovery. But yeah, as you said, it's it's a bad thing. It's a scary thing looking around. Teams don't have sophomore teams, freshman teams. We have a team that doesn't have a varsity team this year. So it's something that we need to kind of find solutions to and get girls out there playing, because it's a wonderful game, and not enough of them are getting to experience it right now.
Yeah, and Bill, I asked this to Jim Petrick, and I said, you've been around this league for a number of years, and I mean, this is the youngest that I've ever seen this league, as far as, I mean, all teams. I mean, with the number of 8th graders and freshmen, and you maybe could throw a sophomore in there too that are getting really a lot of varsity minutes.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, you look up and down. You might have seen an occasional 8th grader every 3-4 years, but that was like a Sarah Jacobson type player, But now it's pretty darn common for most rosters to be playing those girls and playing them big minutes. I mean, Minot's starting a couple of 8th graders, and they're really, really, really good players. So yeah, it's it's a credit to them, but it's also, we need to build a little bit more depth, just girls basketball wise, in the state, because we have talented players. We have really good players.
Yep.
We just need to keep everybody involved.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, Billy, hey, appreciate the time. Happy holidays to you and your family. Best of luck this afternoon, and I guess we'll see you next Tuesday as we got that one on the PSP network, all right?
Awesome. Can't wait. Thanks, Woody.
All right, you bet. Thanks, Billy. Bill Shetler, the head coach of the Bismarck Demon girls basketball team, as they get set to take on the Watford City Wolves this afternoon. They will tip that one right around 1:30, followed by the boys contest. The Bismarck Demons look to remain undefeated in the WDA and in a tie for second with Minot High. Well, we're going to take a timeout, and we come back. We're going to bring in the guru one more time this week. We're going to take a look at last week. If you weren't with us, we took a look around the state and the Class A and Class B levels of girls basketball. Well, today We're going to take a look at the Class B side. When we come back with more, we'll have Perry Hanson, the editor of the Hoopster and Miss Hoopster, back with more on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee after this timeout.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
The best part about working at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
If your eyes could talk, they'd tell you life is better with LASIK. No more reaching for your glasses. No more dry eye from overwearing your contact lenses. Right now, Bismarck LASIK is offering free consultations for LASIK procedures. Break free from the daily hassles and expenses of glasses and contacts. Life is clearly better. Book your free consultation today with Bismarck LASIK and see the difference. Call 222-2020 or schedule online at bismarcklasik.com.
Whether you're looking for a full-service financial plan or planning for farm or business succession, Planning Team Financial Advisors is here to help you work toward achieving your financial goals. With locations in Bismarck, Garrison, and Center, our full-service team of professionals are dedicated to helping you work towards achieving your financial goals. Visit us online, planningteam.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advice offered through GWM Advisors, LLC, doing business as Goss Advisors, a registered investment advisor. GWM Advisors, LLC, and Planning Team Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Memories never fade, especially from a high school rivalry game. Hi, I'm Brock Shook with First Western Bank and Trust. Throughout school sports history, the familiar names and faces may change, but legacies live on, achievements remembered. As your community bank, First Western Bank and Trust celebrates your victories with you. We want to wish all the local teams good luck in their athletic endeavors this season. Be safe on the court, field, rink, and in the gym. First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You remember where this goes?
Go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Welcome back to the Stadium Lodge. Scott Woodmansee with you live. Glad to have you aboard on the PSP Network. Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. As I said, we are live from the Stadium Lodge. If hey, lots of college football bowl games on today. The FCS second semifinal game going on today. Montana State playing host to South Dakota State. Last time Montana State hosted a FCS semifinal game, well, they went on to win the national title. So that should be a fun one here this afternoon. Well, joining me right now is, for week number 2, the editor of the Hoopster and Miss Hoopster, Perry Hanson. Perry, good morning, man. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. Thanks for having me on, Scott. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll get you turned up here just a tish, and let's see if we can. We'll turn that up. There. As well, last week, Perry, we went through and took a look at the girls' side of things. Today, we focus on the A and the B boys, and a lot to get to. I know a big matchup on the B side, but we'll hold on that for a minute as we take a look at the Class A boys side of things. And in your 21-22 Class A boys predictions, Perry, you. We'll start in the EDC. Obviously, no stranger there is West Fargo 1, Davies 2, Cheyenne 3. You got North at 4. We'll start with those top 4. We'll go with the top 5, and you got Red River in there at 5. But certainly West Fargo, let's just say, very well deserving to be number 1 in the EDC.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. They're returning a couple kids from a team that won the state tournament and had a lot of success on the football field as well. But they're going to be led by Carson Hagerly, and he's just a special athlete. He's he's going to go on and play at NDSU. I know he had some higher offers to play some football, but he ended up signing in NDSU, which is going to be kind of nice to see him in his own backyard. But he's really an athletic kid at about 6'3", and he can guard he can guard bigger kids, he can guard smaller guards, and he's just kind of a tough matchup. And they've got a Limpke kid there that for people up in the Minot area, that's Greg's one of Greg's boys, and he plays that point guard for him, and God, he just does a nice job. He
smart player,
very smart player, very steady, and if you leave him open, seems like he makes every open shot. At the state tournament last year, I saw that, and he's an all EDC performer back, so you got a pretty good start right there. And then, of course, the running back Parker Nelson's back, and we saw what kind of an athlete he was on the football field, and Coach Paul Chesky down there, he says that's his defensive specialist, and they kind of rely heavily on their defense. And I've seen some of the scores out there, and they're giving up the least amount of points based on what I saw. And then you move on. I've got Davies at 2, and Coach Manson, it's kind of a reload situation there. They graduated a lot of seniors from that team a year ago, and they knocked right on the door. They got to the semis, and within a minute or two of beating Minot there in the semifinals. So he's got a nice squad there. He's going to be led by a Machenbacher kid who's an all EDC performer. He's getting 17 a game, and it seems like he's been starting for 3 years already. I mean, it's he's been out there. He's just a really solid player. And then they had a kid last year that played as an 8th grader in Class A. And you just don't see that very often, but a kid by the name of Mason Clable.
Yeah, that's a familiar name around the state of North Dakota.
Absolutely. And, I talked to some of the coaches around here quite a bit still, and during the summertime when they would get together in camps, very impressed with that young lad. He's a nice-looking player, handles himself pretty well as a 9th grader. And I got another kid by the name of Ray Brown that had helped a little bit last year, but otherwise, Coach Manson's going to be playing a lot of kids that are kind of going to get a lot of varsity minutes for their first time, but his program is solid, so he's never going to fall very far off the face of the map, so to speak. But so I got them at 2, and then Cheyenne's kind of in a similar situation. They lost a lot of seniors off a really successful year. They do return a kid by the name of Michael, and I hope I pronounce this right, Niall, who gets 6 and 4, and they got a Dosman kid who gets 6 and 3, and the Caleb Larson kid, that's a pretty good player as well.
That Michael Nile, he's had some pretty special dunks already this year that have shown up on social media.
I've seen some of the videos, and he's which tells you how athletic he is. And they're coming off of obviously winning the state football, and so there's kids that are going to transform, and you and I have talked about this numerous times. Success just leads to success, and kids come in with confidence. And they played West Fargo already, and I guess the game was pretty tight till the last 3-4 minutes. And from what I read, West Fargo's defense just kind of stepped it up the last couple minutes to separate themselves. I'm telling you, one team, I might have mispicked these guys at 4, but everybody's telling me that Fargo North.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Really got some incredible basketball players. If you remember, they were in the state tournament a year ago. They started 2 freshmen, and first one was that Jeremiah Sem, and everybody on the AAU circuit told me that he was really special this summer. And he gets 21 and 6, and he's just a sophomore. And then the other one is a Zeller kid. I saw the other night he got a double-double with like 20 and 14 in one game. So,
well, I've heard the one thing, and I think we saw it a little bit last year, Perry, with the Sim kid. I think it's more of a with him. It's can he keep his composure and demeanor on the floor? We saw it a little bit last year. When they made the state tournament, and so I've heard some things this year with him, but but you're right, he's a special basketball player, but I think that's going to be the telltale sign there is he's got to be able to keep himself on the floor.
And I've heard the exact same thing. And last year, when you're a freshman and you're playing in the state basketball tournament, that's just not an easy thing. And you're 14, 15 years old, and you're only a year older now, so a lot of kids don't mature till they get to that junior, senior year. But I've heard the same thing, and it just has to kind of keep things under control. And you're going to see some special videos on him as well. He's gonna do some incredibly athletic things, and they're just a team. I'm just, I've heard a lot of good. They got a Loberg kid there that gets 10 and 6, and then another May kid, and that's a throwback a little bit for maybe quite a few people, but he got 9 and 5 a year ago, and I think just with that success from being in the state tournament as freshmen, get some things under control a little bit, maybe develop some depth. They could be a really nice team at the end of the year. A lot of those East coaches were kind of thought I was crazy for picking them 4, but they were the ones doing it, and so I kind of chuckle when coaches tell me that. But it is what it is, and so you just got 2 solid programs in Davies and Cheyenne and West Fargo. So it just gets hard to break that. And I got Red River at 5, and they got a kid by the name of Payne Parks up there as an all EDC player, just committed to UND, I think, for football. So he's a big kid, 6'5", and plays wide receiver. So that tells you kind of athlete we're dealing with there. And they've got a Kraft kid too he had 88 threes a year ago, and he gets 15 and 3. So I think it's night in, night out. It's just going to be.
Well, and as you say that, Perry, you look, you go to the bottom half of that, and you said Red River at 5, Shanley 6, Central 7, South 8, Devils Lake 9, Wahpeton 10, and Valley at 11. But you go and you look at the EDC standings, and guess who's 3-1 in the EDC standings? Fargo South.
Fargo South.
so it now granted, I mean I think the one team that they beat that you had higher than them was Red River, and they lost to Shanley. So certainly, but again, it's going to be like the WDA. It's going to be night in and night out. Anything can happen, but certainly it sounds like there may be a little bit more of a balance, and maybe some of those other teams getting closer to the Cheyennes and the Packers and the Davies.
And I'm just all on board with that, Scott. Shanley's got 2 Kraft kids that are really good players, and then South they had 3 double-digit scorers coming back, but they didn't have a very good record a year ago, and the coaches really weren't picking them all that high. And so, you throw 3 double-digit scorers out there, and what it's probably going to be, and I've always felt the West has had this for quite some time, but the East sometimes was kind of heavy at the top and maybe not so much at the bottom. And they've always asked us, when I used to coach about our league, and I said, guys, it's just night in, night out. You could go get beat on the road or at home, and I think they're getting pretty close to that as well. And that's what makes the league fun. I don't see anybody out east, Scott, that just says they're clearly the best team in the league.
Right. Yep.
And so they're going to have a fun tournament, and there's going to be some upsets during the year, and it just kind of makes for a fun league.
And there's going to be one on Saturday.
Oh,
there's going to be one on Friday.
I know. It's incredible. It just, you got to be ready to play, and it just comes down some days to the matchup. Some teams you're going to match up very well with, and the next team you're just not going to match up with at all. And so, and that's what makes this EDC fun, I think, a lot more this year and in the past couple of years. Is they're deep now. They got 7-8 teams that can win games.
Yep. Well, there's your look at the EDC on the boys' side. Then we turn right to our own backyard, and you look at the top 5 that he's got out here. Century at 1, St. Mary's 2, Minot 3, Bismarck High in at 4, and Legacy at 5. And really probably no surprise that you got Century at 1 with what they got coming back.
And he committed to some kids here a couple of years ago and started playing them as freshmen at the varsity level, and he took some lumps. Coach Mattern took a couple of tough years where they probably weren't as strong, but they're all juniors, and they're showing that that experience that they gained the last couple of years was really good, and they've got a ton of talent coming back. They've got a Doppler boy back that's had a really good summer in the AAU circuit. He's getting 12 and 6, and you got a 6'7" kid up there by the name of Erickson that's a double-double at 13 and 10. And some of you probably might know Joe Ware, his boy plays, and sister Lauren down there at Arizona, and he's getting 8-5, hit a half quarter here.
Beat Mandan.
Beat Mandan on a half quarter here the other day, and then they've got a sophomore by the name of Isaiah Schaefer, who's just a really good player, getting 12 and 3. And so and their bench is pretty deep as well. So it's hard not to pick Century right now. But like you just said, you and I were just talking. They took a half court shot to beat Mandan, who right now, if you look in the standings,
Mandan's best 0-3 team in the state.
It's unreal, and that just shows you what the league could be like going forward. And it's really going to be fun to watch and see how everybody develops. They're going to have to, get some experience built up, and then we'll see where everybody's at tournament. A team that I really like is St. Mary's, and I know you guys were there on Tuesday night, and they've got 3 kids still hurt from the football team that are gonna. 2 of those are really gonna help them, and a third one who's 6'9", who could get himself right into the mix, a Mormon kid. But
he played last night now.
Oh, he did now. Okay.
Yeah. He was. I know he didn't play against Mandan, and we found out that he was sick, so they didn't practice him, so he couldn't play.
Okay.
So he did play a few minutes last night, so he is back. But the guys you're talking about, Schumacher, Sefner, and Isaac Vandal, the 3 kids that are out. And as you said, Perry, I agree with you. I'll tell you what we've seen in the last 2 games they've played, and when they get those 3 kids back, that gives them a little bit more depth than what they have right now. And look out.
And they'll throw 5 kids. They could throw 5 kids on the court. If the Mormon kid's not out, they're all in that 6'1" to 6'3" range, all athletic. And Tuesday night when I was there, my son and I were sitting there, and I said, Coach Etzold used to play in our program at Bismarck High, and I said, I'm just kind of waiting for the defense to get turned up a little bit. And I think the second half, they came out of the locker room, and it just seemed like their intensity picked up and kind of changed that game a little bit on Tuesday night.
Yep.
The Gross player is just a nice he gets 11 and 8. I really like the Bader kid. He gets 14 and 2. And Fedorchuk, I hope I pronounced that right, he gets 12 and 3. And when they get the Schumacher kid back, he's a 7 and 2 guy. And Senfer's a commit to NDSU football. So you're going to throw an athlete out. I like the Gerving kid.
Yep.
He's going to be so he's going to have about 8, 9, 10 kids that he can throw out there. And with the style he's going to play on defense.
And I think what he's developing right now, Perry, is with those 3 kids being hurt, he's allowing himself to get some other kids that probably would have had to fight to get into that rotation, giving them some valuable minutes, and we all know how important that is the end of February.
Oh, and it's going to make a huge difference. Everybody usually has some kind of injury or something along the line, and so you're right. He's developing that depth, and I just like their team. So did the rest of the league. The coaches really pretty much predominantly had them at 2.
Yep.
And and then I went down to Minot at 3, but 1 through 8, Scott. This year the WDA is going to a 1-8 might be a really good first round game this year, and it's just kind of fun. And Minot, I went to watch them. They've got 2 really good players back, and all WDA and all state. And Eric Wentz, who gets 14 and 4, and Dissette got 14 and 3, and he's an all state performer. I'm at the game, and he's got 3 freshmen, 2 to 3 freshmen contributing already to the varsity team. And I saw one last night, got player of the game, and as they upset Legacy, or maybe you don't want to call it an upset this early in the year, but he's got some nice-looking athletes on that team. And Coach Winchesky's always going to have them ready to go at tournament time. They're well coached.
Yep, no question about it.
And then you get into BHS, and maybe one of the top players in the whole entire state, UND commit, and Trace and Eagle staff, and on a given night, his opening night, everything was going in. He got 42, and in game 2, he's getting boxed and chased already in a game 2 of the WDA basketball season, and so he's going to see a lot of extra attention, and so that's going to open up some avenues for some other kids. And he gets 23 and 6, and he's really gotten athletic. He's developed some strength. He may, if you walk into the gym, you see a long, skinny kid, and you maybe not think that he's that strong, but he's stronger than he looks, and he's really gotten better at using his left hand and getting to the rim and things like that. So he's really improved, and he had an incredible summer. And he signed with UND, and he's got a chance if he could stay healthy and he's got a chance to become the all-time leading scorer at BHS and pass a guy that a lot of people know by the name of Dexter Werner. And Dexter was a 4-year player for us, and and that would be pretty special for Trace. And then he's got a whole bunch of kids that are played some varsity because of the way that system is. He plays 10, 12 kids. And that night against Jamestown, I was really impressed. Bismarck High had to play the whole second overtime and 2 minutes of the first overtime without tracing as he fouled out. And I saw some things there in that 6 minutes of basketball, Scott, that I think Coach Wilhelm would be pretty excited about because those kids had to go finish the game by themselves.
I think that was a big win for them early in the season.
Yes.
Based on that, with him not being in the game and knowing that if they get in that situation, because there's no question about it, he's the guy they're going to play through when it went down the end of the game, and now knowing that they can go out and win games when he's on a bench.
Absolutely, and there's going to be nights, there's going to be people run 3 guys at him when he's got a ball in his hand, trying to get him to get rid of the ball. And that was the other thing about Eagle staff. I thought that was much better this year too, or seemed to improve. I shouldn't say it that way, but he's passing the ball well. He sees other people, and he's getting a lot of opportunities. And they got a Gillette kid there that made some tough shots that night, and a lot of people might know Dad Rusty. And Kyler Scott, I thought that night really, really showed me a lot, really, in the overtime. And I saw last night he got 17 again. He's a long kid at 6'6", and he's kind of improved his strength. And then he's starting to play a lot of younger kids as well. And Preston Lamar, who had a really nice WDA tournament a year ago, and Carter Hankey, and a kid by the name of Quinn Hafner. So those 3 are getting a lot of time. And Ethan Stotts is out there, and he gets rebounds. And
he's the garbage pail.
He gets the garbage pail points that he benefits a lot from Eagle staff. And he might set the all-time foul record, though, at BHS. He fouls out of just about every single game, and I feel bad for him, because of the style they play. He's up in the front, and so it's 94 feet of ball pressure, and so he picks up a lot of fouls that are 80, 90 feet from the basket, but that's just their style. And a Sims kid there, and then the quarterback from the football team was out a year ago with knee injury, and he's back, and he's just a really strong kid, so he fits that style of play that they're playing. And so I look for Bismarck High to be, right now they're currently undefeated in the league, but they're up in the northwest part of the state playing a couple of games right now. But and then Legacy's got I got them at 5, and they got an all WDA player back in Xander Elbers, and he's getting 12 and 7. He's another 6'3", 6'4" kid that can step out, shoot the 3. And a Wetzel kid that's pretty good. He gets 5 and 3. And Jackson Kelly played a lot for him. I saw they won a pretty good game, I think, on Tuesday night, and then Mina came down here last night.
Yeah, it was kind of a Jekyll and Hyde week for Legacy. You go on the road and you knock off Jamestown, you hammer Jamestown by 16 on the road, and you come back and you only put 46 after having scored 88, 94, 70, and you come back and score 46 in your own gym.
And it's just, and that's why
and I don't want to call Jason Horner.
No, no. I mean, I'm not. I should text him right now, but I might get a quick response. But no, it's just, and that's what this league's going to be.
Yeah,
it really is. And then I got Mandan. That's a 6 right now. You said they're the best 0-3 teams. They had Century beat. They had
0-3 in the conference, 0-4 overall. But like you said, they had Century beat. And last night, they just couldn't get over the hump against St. Mary's.
And Bismarck
High. And those are your top 2 teams.
I know, Bismarck High the first night, they had a chance to beat them as well. And they play really hard. They've got a grub kid there that's going to play some football too. But he does a nice job around the basket. And I like what their coaches do. I just feel like they play really hard, and they've got a bunch of kids there that they play well together. And so I think that's pretty good. And then Jamestown, I got them at 7, but wow, they started a 9th grader. They started a sophomore. They play a lot of young kids, which means by the end of the year, there's a 7 pick that is a little scary. And Dickinson's got an all-state player back, and Dvorak.
And it was brought to my attention last night that it was I didn't realize this, but I believe that the freshman they start, Noah Meisner, is his dad was Jeff Meisner, who played out at Glen Ullin.
Yep, and he's related to Coach Wilhelm.
Yep, he's related to Coach Wilhelm.
And it was a funny situation, and he's a nice player. Last year I ended up getting back into coaching a little bit, doing some 8th grade, and he was in the 8th grade league, and you could tell right there that he had a chance to maybe play already as a 9th grader. But it was an interesting situation, kind of a funny story, as he's at the free throw line for a chance to maybe beat Bismarck High in regulation. I believe he had to make 2, and he made 1. The games went into overtime, but it was kind of a weird situation, I'm sure, for all those involved at Christmas maybe here. Coach Wilhelm and I were chuckling about it afterwards. He goes, yeah, that's going to make Christmas better for me. But But nice-looking players. And they got a Larson kid that really was – he was getting some high accolades in the summer from his AAU play. And, it's WDA is going to be what it is again.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, crazy league. And
as you say, you can't sleep. You can't sleep any night because, it's just going to be that well balanced, and it should be a lot of fun. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, there's your look at the Class A boys side of things. We come back, we'll take a quick look at the Class B. We'll take a look at the Class B boys. We'll go Region 1 all the way through Region 8. Back with more on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee after this short timeout.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
Let's go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Welcome back to Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. We're live from the Stadium Lodge in Northwest Bismarck. Hey, get on out here near lunchtime as specials going on throughout the day, as Danny and the staff will take care of you. Lots of TVs. Come on up to the Stadium Lodge. Get yourself out of the cold this afternoon. Well, now we roll into our Class B side of things. And first, let's take a look at what Perry had at his Class B power poll, the preseason power poll. We'll go 1 through 10. Enderlin at 1, Kindred 2, Four Winds Minnewacan at 3, Beulah 4, Shiloh at 5, Trinity at 6, North Border 7, Rugby 8, Hillsborough Central Valley at 9, and Dunseith at 10. And if you just weren't with me earlier, we went through that the second Class B boys basketball poll. And, well, pretty much spot on right now. Just flip-flop Kindred and Enderlin at 1 and 2. Four Winds Minnewacan at 3, Beulah at 4, Shiloh at 5. And then North Border 6, HCV 7, Dunseith 8. And then Flasher and Rugby in there and a tie for 9. And, Perry, I guess let's start out in Region 1. And certainly a team in Enderlin that out that way that's looking to again the same thing on the girls' side. You guess what? Region 1, there's going to be two teams, one team that's going to be probably in the top 10 in the state at the end of the last poll, and they're not going to make it to the state Class B tournament.
No, it's right now I've got a 1 and a 2 overall playing in Region 1. And the same thing on the girls' side. And, I lean towards Enderlin. Hard not to. I think I can remember here, Scott, I think 3-4 years ago you and I were talking about a 6'10", 8th, 9th grader playing at Enderlin, and we were like, wow. And here he is now, finally a senior. He committed to Colorado. He can do a lot of things at 6'10". He gets 22 and 15, and they play away from the basket probably more than they play, around the basket. And, a lot of basketball purists are probably kicking themselves going, why isn't he down there at the block? The game's evolved that way a little bit with, pick and roll out, things like that going on out away from the basket. But he is a nice athlete. He can handle the ball. I could see why Division I school would be interested in something like that, just because of skill set for a 6'10" kid is pretty good. And when you watch college basketball today, you see a lot of that tall, skinny 6'10" kid playing out by the three-point line. And so he's a nice player. And his brother's 6'8". He gets 18 and 7, and same kind of player a little bit. He probably spends a little more time around the basket than Joe does, but I've heard rumblings. I haven't heard for sure, but he's looking to maybe sign and play some basketball out maybe in the Ivy League or something along that. He's got a really high ACT score, so look for him to probably sign someplace here as a Division I. And they got a point guard back by the name of Elijah Dixon, who's a pretty special athlete. He's and he's got to be their ball distributor, and the Hurlberts are going to take up a lot of those a lot of those shots and stuff for that team, as well they should. And but Dixon did a pretty nice job, and then they got another 6'6" kid, if you can believe that. I just fathom 6'10", 6'8", 6'6", Class B in Enderlin, North Dakota. That's just unbelievable when you think about
it's unheard of, isn't it?
Well, just anywhere. And they got a kid by the name of Bartholomew that gets that's 10 and 6. One of the things with Enderlin is, well, they played 4 wins, and I'll get to that a little bit later. That 4 wins team is not making me look real smart right now, but they also scrimmage BHS, and at one time, those two were playing against BHS. They're 3 Division I commits on the floor during a scrimmage, and that's pretty special. But the Bismarck High coaches had nothing but good things to say about Enderlin when they scrimmaged them. And the thing with Enderlin is this their year. They've been knocked off 2 times in the last 2 years.
Yep.
One of them was early in the regional, like first round or second round, and they got to get over that hump. And I think if they would get over the hump and get through their region tournament, you might see a team at the state tournament that just plays outstanding.
Yeah.
And people would be like, wow, they're really, but they've got to get over that hump mentally, because just up the road is Kindred, who I got at 2, and they're the football champs. They're the defending basketball champs. And they got a bunch of 6'4", 6'5" kids. And when I was watching them live at the Class B last year, very, very impressive defensively.
Yeah.
And it's all 6'3", 6'4" kids. Maybe not as big as Enderlin, but long by standards. And that was tough. I didn't get as much guff as I did from the girls' side on who to pick, but they've also got some younger kids. They got an Olsen kid back that's probably their top returner and all-region player, but they got a Paraja kid, a McQuillan kid who was all-region, and they're all in that 6'4", 6'5" range, and they won the football. So they got some tough kids, and they got some younger kids that need to develop for them.
Yep.
So we'll see where they're at towards the end of the year, and and I feel sorry for number 3 in that region is Central Cass. They have nice athletes, Scott. They got a Deutsch kid there, a Kolbervig kid there, and they're both good players. And Oak Grove's got good players. They're not real big, but Coach Card has always got good players out there, and they're always a team to reckon with. They got a Rodriguez kid back that's an all-region player, but Northern Cass he's had a really nice year last year, but they're kind of in a rebuild, but they had a really nice JV program simply because they had a bunch of seniors playing a year ago. Sargent County is a team that they're in the second year of a co-op, and that usually helps. And I've noticed early that they've won some games, so they're a team that could surprise some people. Hankinson actually has 2 all-region kids back, and a Kelly and a Hernandez, and
well, we could go deep into that region, Perry, but it's fair to say that everybody else, unless something happens, you never know. But it might be fair to say that everybody else is playing for 3 and 4.
Well, more than likely, and it's just the way it is. It's a tough region.
Yep. So Super Region 1, and then we go to Super Region 2, and maybe somewhat of the same possibilities up there as we talked about. We gave you the most recent Class B boys basketball poll. Well, 2 teams that were in there at 6 and at 7. Well, you've got out of Super Region 2, you got North Border at 1, Hillsborough Central Valley at 2, Thompson at 3, and then Grafton in at 4.
And this one will be a little bit tighter, Scott. The top 2 look to be kind of a little bit of a separation, but not as much as I would say in Region 1. And North Border's got some nice players back. They had a kid transfer in a year ago that was a sophomore by the name of Aiden Stainbrook, and he's a really nice player. He gets 15 and 6, and I know that it's maybe not as meaningful, but they won the 6-man state football championship this year, and he was their quarterback, and he's just a really nice player, an all-region player. They got a Johnson kid up there that's a nice player, and then a TJ Cosley who gets 14 and 3 is kind of their point guard. So they start with 3 really good athletes. They lost 3 games last year, Scott. That's it. They lost 3. One of those was the regional champ Grafton, and so they really are coming off a very successful season, and they had the whole team back. Yep. And so that's a team that's really good, and you never can count Hillsborough Central Valley out there at 2. And They're led by Gannon Limke. He gets 15 and 12. It's a relative, obviously, to Brett. Those are Garth's kids, and so he's a little bit longer. He's 6'6", and he's a nice-looking player. He gets a double-double, and they got a Gallagher kid there that's pretty good, and they can run a 6'7" sophomore out there, and Jacob Brandt, another 6'6" kid in Caden Watersworth, and so they run some pretty good athletes out there, and I just like what they do as a coaching staff.
Yep.
Everybody says if you can get through Hillsborough, you can get through Region 2 is what you kind of hear from people, and so that's going to make it pretty interesting. Thompson is another team. They got an Oldenbach kid back that's an all-region player, and he had some older siblings that played on that state championship team from a couple of years ago, or their state runner-up, and they got 8 kids who saw a lot of time. So Brandy George is pretty excited about that, and Crafton, of course, they were at state tournament last year, and they lost everybody but one. They got one returner back in William Jiskra, but they got third state tourney. But in talking to their coach when I was selling ads up there, and I ran into him, and he says, Perry, we're going to be very, very young, he says, but we really like our young kids. And so there's a team that may be down the stretch at the end of the year. And then Hatton Northwood's got and he's got a NDSU commit and Colby Azure in football, so. And they got a new coach up there by the name of Chris Kilvang that is taking over for as the new coach up there at Hatton Northwood. So that one's going to be a little bit more balanced. I know there's a new co-op, and I kind of screwed this up a week ago, so I'd like to clarify it. But Mayport added the Finley Sharon kids, and then going back a little bit to Region 1, Maple River added the Hope Page kids. And so when you take Finley Sharon, Hope Page, split it into 2 other teams, you just don't know how the co-op's going to work because they actually weren't too bad. Finley Sharon was supposed to be pretty good this year. So you throw them in, and that makes Region 2 pretty balanced. I still like the top 2, obviously, but a little tighter maybe than Region 1.
Yep. Then we go into Region 3, which comprises Districts 5 and District 6, a little bit closer to home here. Perry, you've got Ellendale, Lemoore, Litchfield, Marion. We all know what they did in football. Linton HMB, Edgeley, Culm, Montpelier are your top 4 in Region 3. And you've got the little note on the bottom that says this region will be extremely close.
Yeah. It comprises of 2 districts, and I've got Ellendale to win the region, and they're led by I think he's a 2-time All-State player, Scott Wagner. He gets 18 and 12, and he had some people were telling me he was involved in a major car accident over the summer, and there was some concern over how that was going to work. But he's back on the court and he's playing, so that's kind of nice. And I've been trying to follow scores, and there's a tournament down there, and they ended up winning the tournament, or maybe it was semifinals last night, and he got his double-double like he usually gets, and he's a nice player. They got a Thorpe kid down there. Gets 11 a game, all-district player, and a Reese kid that played quite a bit. And then Lemoore, obviously, I picked second in District 5, and I got him second in the region as well. And, obviously, like you said, they got football coming off success. And so that means – and you watched them in football, and they're athletic.
Ooh, very athletic.
Very athletic, and they're kind of long. And so there's a team that it might be very hard to beat them towards the end, and they're led by their quarterback, Corbin Potts, and he's an all-district player. They got a Peel kid, a Bowman kid, a Ness kid, a Muslin kid who played a lot as a freshman, and that's a pretty big name down there in the Lemoore area. And so I had them at 2 in that district and 2 overall. And then I went to Linton down there in District 6 for 3 overall in that region, and they've got some Bosch twins, Landon and Grant, that do a nice job, and Trace King, and I hate to say it, but when you got a coach down there that's got as many wins as Coach Carr, I don't think I want to play him at the tournament.
No.
You know darn well they're going to be very well prepared, and I look for them to be. They need to develop some. They lost some really good players in the Schumacher kid a year ago, they're still. Like I said, they still got the Bosch twins and the King kid and the Grant kid. But so I had them 3 overall in the region, but 1 in District 6, and then I went back into Region 5 for my overall 4th with EKM, and boy, they just took off last year and made it all the way to the state final, and they were state runner-up. They lost a lot of players from that, and they returned their point guard, Adam Nishke, and He's got a younger brother by the name of Jacob Nishke, and there's a Madkey back that played a little bit, but they lost a lot of seniors.
They did.
So they're gonna end up having to battle a little bit. And as the number 4, and in District 5, a team maybe you want to watch out for a little bit there is Carrington, and they got a Hendrickson kid back that's a nice player, and a Schmitz kid, and they got a Tope, but they returned their core group that has been playing together for 2 straight years now. So they've had to take their lumps, and now those kids are getting their shot here probably in their junior years. So Napoleon's got a reasonable team. They got an Eberly kid down there as an all-district player. They returned 3 starters, so back to District 6 a little bit there. But overall in the region, I think MPB will be okay. Kidder County's okay in District 6. But overall in that region, it's really going to be – it looks to be District 5 heavy at this point. But I do think that region is going to be a given night who actually might play well.
Exactly. And then we go into Region 4. Which comprises District 7, District 8, and you've got 2 teams in that region, both in the most recent Class B boys basketball poll. Four Winds Minnewacan at 1, Dunseith 2, North Star 3, and Harvey Wells County in at 4. And I guess it all starts once again with Rick Smith and what he does up in Four Winds.
That's just incredible what he's done for that program. I had them at number 3 overall. They've already beaten Enderlin on the road, and last night they got Beulah on the road. And so that's not easy. I mean, think about that. They're both on the road, and so they beat 2 teams in that top 10 on the road already. And they've got an all-state player coming back, and Jaden Yankton. He's already got 1,000 points. He's a 3-year starter, and he's just a solid player. They got a Pearson kid, but the kid that's just kind of rising up the charts a little bit and it's kind of weird to say this, but his name is actually Dang Dang.
Yeah.
And so he's a 6'3" sophomore kid, and this summer I happened to pop into the gymnasium during the team camp time. They needed an extra referee, and Four Winds was there and playing in the team camp, playing against the Class A schools. And wow, he was an impressive athlete. And I saw he was Mid-Coast Player of the Game a week or whatever because he got a bunch against Enderlin. So, and speaking to a guy from Beulah last night, he just said that they're just athletic and pretty solid. But that's one of the things that's showing up now in Class B because we're losing teams, and so we're getting more super regions.
Yep.
And so what's happening on schedules is they're playing teams once in their region, and then they have the ability to do what Four Winds is doing. Let's go down and play Enderlin. Let's go out and play Beulah. And so you're getting some pretty good matchups. So kudos to their AD, or if it's Rick Smith or whatever they're doing, to finding themselves a schedule that they could go, play against some of these better teams early in the year. And back when they had so many teams, you saw them at the state tournament, or at the regional.
Yep.
And so Dunseith, I had 2 in that region, and they got a Morin kid up there, Scott. He's really good. He gets 19 and 6. He's already got 1,000 points. He's going to get some college looks. I had them at 10 overall, and I think what you said, the latest poll, they're 8. And,
they're 8.
And so they've got a really nice squad. They've got a kid by the name of Poitra that's an all-district player back that gets 13. They got a transfer from Maple Grove, Minnesota, and he got 19 as a JV player a game out of Maple Grove. And I think Maple Grove plays pretty high level, like 4A or 5A in Minnesota. And the kid's name is Boston Davis. I'm not sure how good he is. I'll have to wait and see what that's going to do. And if he's getting 19 in a JV program at Maple Grove in a 4A or 5A program, he's probably going to have a chance to be a pretty nice player. So, and in 3 in the region, I had North Star, and we giggled about this a little bit last week, but there's a Hagler playing on the boys' side as well, and he's getting 16 and 5. And then I went up to Harvey Wells County for the region, and they got a Grossman kid. They had a successful football team. They got a Grossman kid who's getting 13 and 7, and an Erickson kid back. And Dakota Prairie's got a really nice player up there, Scott. If anybody's up in that area, and they should go get a chance to watch Cade Stein play. He gets 21 and 7, and they got another kid there by the name of Severson who's getting a double-double at 11 and 11, and you got Langdon. Langdon doesn't go away because they always have good athletes up there. Even with Todd Domray's not being up there, they got some athletes up there. I thought I'd throw a shot in at Todd, but anyway, and then Rolla's got a really good. He's got a 1,000-point scorer up there in Mitch Lease. But overall in that region, it's going to be hard to beat 4 wins in Dunseith. But it'll tighten up by the end of the year.
Well, there you have the first 4 regions. We'll take a short time out. We come back. We'll finish her up with the last 4 on the Class B side of things. You're listening to the Overtime with Scott Woodmansee and the PSP Network. Back after this short timeout.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
Let's go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Yeah, welcome back to the Stadium Lodge as we continue our look at the Class B boys side of things from the editor of the HOOPTER, Perry Hanson, and that leads us into a new Super Region, and that one is right in our own backyard, Super Region 5, which comprises Shiloh, Flasher, New Salem, Elmont, and Garrison, the top 4 there. In that most recent poll, Flasher in a tie for 9, Shiloh Christian coming in at number 5 in the most recent Class B poll.
Yeah, and I kind of like that the fact that they went to a super region, and I expect that to happen probably throughout the state here in the next 2 to 3 years. But Shiloh's got an England kid back that was an all-region player. He's a bigger kid. He's 6'6", and he gets 13 and 8. And they've got a Baker boy that played some guard for him last year. That was an all-district performer. I kind of like how he handles himself on the game. And they got a Herringer kid in there that's kind of comes in and does some post play along with the England kid. And they had 13 kids who saw varsity time a year ago. And so, you know, at Shiloh, a lot of people say it's not a rebuild, it's a reload. And so once those kids start getting some more varsity time, I could see them being very, you know, kind of hard to beat. And Flasher is right there. Those 2 teams are really, really tight. They got an all-state performer in Jace Freeze, and I need to get down and watch him play. He got 23 and 12. Coach Newman and I are friends, and he said, you got to really come down and watch Jace play. He's really a good player. He's got a little brother by the name of Javin who's junior. He's getting 16 and 7. They got an all-district player back in Hudson Beeler, and Coach Newman just does a really good job. You know, and when you talk the size of Class B schools, every once in a while you get a run on athletes. You got to make the most of that run.
Yep, that's exactly right.
And I think this is where he's at. I mean, this is kind of a group here where he needs to make the most out of his run. And he's always got good teams, but he's got a couple of special players up there. And so, New Salem, Elmont has got a good program. They got 2 Coon boys that are good players. One of them only being a 9th grader. I mean, he got to play as an 8th grader a year ago and got 9 a game.
Yep.
And so you must have some kind of talent there. And then they got a Rude kid up there that gets 12 and 3. And then, you know, both the Coon kids are pretty good players. And, you know, they always have they seem to always have athletes, and it shows on their football field, and then it kind of carries over into the basketball field. Coach Kringstad, I know, does a really nice job with those kids, and he's an assistant on the football program. So he just kind of carries over with those kids. And Garrison's got a Kurzman kid back that's getting 16 and 6. He's an all-region player, and I had Wilton Wing in there at 5. And they got a new coach up there, a guy by the name of Scott Wolf, maybe an old wing athlete there that took over the program. And I know he's been coaching their youth, kind of their younger kids in tournaments, and so he was given the job. And they got a couple kids back that are all-region, and Landon Miller and Trey Koski, and they got a Shoe kid. So they're, you know, once they develop camaraderie with Coach Wolf and kind of get there, they could be a team that could be okay. Jaden Hall from Center's a nice player coming back, and one of the things, he gets 13 and 3, and he was all district a year ago. And here's an interesting combination. Joey Anderson is now back coaching the Central McLean team. He had the Turtle Lake teams for years.
Yep.
As assistant is Gary Ballard. And so between the two, that's probably 60 years of basketball coaching experience. So, and I spoke a lot with them guys this summer a little bit, and he said they got about 10, 12 kids that can potentially help that are all about the same caliber, and they were actually trying to get info out of me to see if they thought the Bismarck High system would work for them. And I said, well, you're going to have to talk to Wilhelm about that. But, but they were kind of interested in it because they had 10, 12 kids that could just, be able to play that. So I think those two, and but they're going to be young. I think Flasher and Shiloh probably in New Salem are probably the top three in that region.
Yep, there's your look at Super Region 5. Standing Rock, Central McLean, Washburn, Center, Stanton, Max, and Solon round out Region 5. Then we go to Region 6, up and around Highway 83, comprises 11 and 12. Up there, you got a team coming out of there, Rugby. They were a state tournament team last year, followed by Bishop Ryan, DLB, Delax Burlington, and then Mohall, Lansford, Sherwood in at 4.
Yeah, and I just went with Rugby. It was really tight. A lot of people wanted Ryan to be picked there. I even had some votes for DLB, but we'll get to that here in a second. But in the end, Rugby just being a state tournament team from a year ago, and it seems like that program has done a really nice job here in the last 5-10 years. And you got a Foster kid back that's a nice player, a Schneible kid, and a DeMontenay kid they're just good players, and they're not going to wow you with stats, but they play well together. And so with that in mind, I thought maybe they had a slight nod. Minot Ryan wasn't far behind. They've got a couple really nice players in Brady Feller and Connor Thompson. One's an all-region, the other one's all-district, and they really like their depth. And so I think Ryan is a team that can maybe surprise some teams. And then I had DLB 3. And, as we said last week, a lot of my information has to be ready for print by the end of September. And when that happened, one of their big players, a Mayo kid, transferred to Surrey.
Yep.
And the other one is Carson Yale, who was 6'6" and had an incredible AAU summer, ends up tearing up his knee. And so I don't know if he's going to make it back, but they got a new coach. And what a way to start out as a new coach. You lose one kid to Surrey, and the other one is maybe for sure an all-state type performer to a knee injury. So I kind of felt bad for the coach up there. So if Yale does make it back, they could be somebody that could surprise at the end of the year. I'm not sure of his timetable. I've talked to some people, and no one seems to really know on that. And then I had Mohall, Lansford, Sherwood. They got just a balanced team. They got a Savakal kid up there and a Steele Olson kid. They're pretty balanced. Our Redeemers really has a nice player, an all-state performer, and Zach Hendrickson back, and he gets 23 and 5. He's a nice player. And Botno had a good football year, and I know, and we talk a lot about that stuff, but it means a lot. And they had 4 kids back that were kind of in that 8 to 12 range, and then a team that may surprise, and it was the exact same thing on the girls' side, and it's due to last name by the name of Broughton. They had a 6'1" kid up there. He's only a 9th grader. He got 22, Scott, as an 8th grader, and he's 6'1", and that is a sister to Ellie, and she's a 1,000-point scorer. So I think you and I laughed about this last year. I'd like to watch those two play one-on-one out in the
driveway,
in the driveway sometime. And then they got a Tabara's kid that's pretty good, that gets 10 and 3. So from what I hear from people on that AAU circuit, they were really impressed with the Broughton kid. He's only a 9th grader, so if he can get a little size added to that, that could be a team that could surprise some people at the end. But Region 6 is, just like on the girls' side, wide open.
Yep, wide open.
That could go anywhere with that.
So that'll be a fun region to watch. Then we go to Region 7, and there you've got a couple teams, 3 of them that appear in the most recent poll. Beulah was in at number 4. Dickinson Trinity was a team that was receiving some votes. They got an early loss. Also Bowman County in at 3, followed by Hazen and then Beach, as Bowman County has got one win based in the most recent Class B basketball poll.
Yeah, and Beulah played 4 wins last night. I picked them to win the region. They're led by Trey Brandt. He's a Minot State commit, and he's got over 1,500 points already in his career, and he's really fun to watch. Not only does he just does a lot of things for the team, and he's really a smart player. Obviously he spent a lot of time in the gym with his dad being a coach, and you kind of learn the game when you're kind of around those kind of atmospheres. But they got a Skalski kid up there who is really good too as well, and Coach Brandt just does a nice job. And I talked to my quote Beulah connection this morning, and he just said that the younger kids need to develop a little bit as the season goes, and then when that happens by the end of the year, they'll be a lot better. And so playing a team like 4 wins right away early in the season, maybe some of those kids weren't quite ready to go. And I saw that Brandt and Skalski got 54 of their 63 last night, and so that'll tell you that they need to develop a little depth. And I never, ever count Coach Grinsteiner out at Trinity. They just always have a solid squad. And his assistant is Tim Daniel, and he was a former college coach. And, I watched the other night. I got my son's coaching now, so I went and watched the 9th graders from Trinity play, and I'm like, these kids all look the same. They're all about 6'1", 6'2", athletic, play hard. I mean, he just has such a solid program, and so
you can never rule Grinny out of that region.
Absolutely not. And a lot of people think the road through that and goes there. And if I remember right, Beulah had to hit a last-second shot just to make the state tournament a year ago, and I think that was against Trinity. So, and then Bowman County I had picked 3rd, and he's young. He wasn't quite sure. Coach Walker and I talk once in a while, and you and I got a lot of respect for Coach Walker and what he does, and they're going to play defense. And when I was there this summer, he had open gym, and I kind of come wandering in, and so of course we had to sit and visit while the kids were playing a little bit. And he has 2 Duffield kids that are young, but he's really excited about them. He's got a Bishop Duffield and a Braden Duffield. And last year they only got about 7 a game, but I've seen already now. I was looking at the Dickinson Press, and that they had some big games already, and they got a Scott kid back who's an all-region player. So they're going to be right there in the mix as well. And then Hazen's got, I actually was watching before the Bison game started a little bit. I got a nephew that plays for Washburn, and so I was watching them play Hazen last night. And I know he's got a Wick kid back and a Batke kid. And he got actually 2 Wicks. There's one a senior and one's a sophomore. And so they're going to be okay. Beach might be a team, Scott, that's going to surprise some people. They got a Swanton kid back there. He's just a really big physical kid, and he gets a double-double every night. And they got a Farsfeet, which is kind of a familiar name back that gets a lot of points. And they returned a kid from football injury a year ago. He didn't get to play basketball as a junior by the name of Tevin Dietz. And I think that Beach is a team that could surprise. And they got a new co-op out there, and Grant County and Mott Region combined for the boys' side. The numbers issue, and Glenelg and Hebron returns 3 starters. But I think there's 3 teams in that region that are really, really good, and then there might be a little bit of separation. But in the end, I ended up going with Beulah.
Yep, Beulah, the pick there out of Region 7, and then we go to our last region up in the northwest part of the state. Composes District 15 and 16. That's Region 8. And there you've got Powers Lake, Stanley getting back into the mix, Trenton at 3, and Divide County in at 4.
Yeah, and I noticed they got a tournament up there, and I saw that Powers Lake and Stanley were going to play each other for the championship game up there. And I've got Powers Lake. They've been to the state tournament. I picked them to win District 16, and that region's pretty tight. There isn't a standout team there. There isn't somebody you can just say, they're going to be in the poll all year long, and they're going to be really hard to beat.
Well, and up there in that right now, receiving votes up from that region, Perry, Trenton and Powers Lake both receiving votes.
Yeah, and I was going to get to Trenton here, but Stanley, you mentioned them a little bit ago. They're playing a couple of sophomores that played as freshmen that got double-digit scoring already as freshmen, and so they're a team that's pretty good. And I like Trenton. we didn't get a lot of information from the coach up there this year, so it was really hard to sit down and say, well, what do we really have? I had to ask people a little bit. But they returned all 5 starters, and according to some people, they got some transfers in. So the coach just didn't give me a lot of information to work with, and so they got a Hool kid up there that's pretty good. I know that, and a Carter Smith kid that's pretty good. So they're going to be right there. And then I like Stanley. I like Divide County. I got a couple Carabello kids up there that are pretty good, and a Duvetter kid that's pretty good, and so they're getting double digits from them. And Trinity Christian's got 2 double-digit scorers back. There's a nice player at Lewis and Clark Plaza, North Shore, so that teams that are further down. White Shield still has some good players left. I know they lost the second all-time leading scorer in Jesse White, and he was a really special player. And I was kind of hoping, I was kind of cheering for him to make the state tournament a year ago so people could get to watch him play.
Yep.
But, it just didn't work out. But, he got over 2,000 points, and he's playing down at Wahpeton, and he's getting time already. But they still have a couple players left from that team, and Dickens and Felix that were pretty nice players. And Parcel's got a couple of good kids. I truly –
flip a coin, huh?
Yeah, because Kenmure's got a Zimmer kid, and we know Coach, and – it's going to be wild up there. You could pick 6 teams to maybe win the region up there.
Yeah, wow, Region 8. So it's going to be a wild and wacky Region 8. So there's your look at the state of North Dakota and high school basketball from the editor of the HOOPTER, Miss HOOPTER, Perry Hanson. And Perry, we got to give you a plug coming up. You've got a tournament coming up in Minot. I know we're going to be a part of that on the PSP network. Why don't you tell the folks when that is and what that entails?
Yeah, so we, my dad and my brother-in-law Scott from rugby started a tournament. We call it the HOOPTER Classic up in Minot at the Minot State Dome. And then the Minot people then agreed to add to that, and so they have something called the Dale Brown Classic, which is the following night. And so it's coming up. So the Hoopster Classic is actually on the 28th. The Dale Brown is on the 29th. So a lot of those teams, if they can fit it into their schedule, will come up and stay overnight and get 2 good games against teams from other parts. But they got, some good teams. And Thompson's coming out. DLB's there. Our Redeemer. Trinity comes up. Beulah comes up. They play rugby right away. And Shiloh Christian's coming for 2 nights. They play Langdon. And I think Enderlin and Four Winds are coming in on the second night for the Brown Classic. And it's always been kind of a fun time, and I usually go up and spend a day trying to watch games, and you get to see a lot of people up there, and it's a good tournament atmosphere. And then and then Scott, he gets he must have a lot of time over Christmas break because then he's going to do a girls one for me on the 30th at the Minot State Odd. So a lot of basketball if you want to go up and watch it. And Minot up there.
And I know we're going to have coverage of that for you right here on the PSP network. And certainly you get to make your broadcasting basketball debut coming up in about a week or so at the Mandan Holiday Tournament. So we'll put the headsets on and put that coaching knowledge to work for you.
Well, yeah, if it depends on who you talk to. There's probably some that would say, I don't know anything, but no, I appreciate the opportunity, and like I said to you guys last week, it's just great to have a network like this out there, and you guys you're covering a lot of area and a lot of games, and that's just great for high school athletes, not only on the boys' side but the girls' side, and so people need to. Like I said last week, let's get you found and let's get you going.
We're doing the best we can on that. We're doing the best we can.
And I think you are. I think a lot more people I saw reviewing and stuff, so I think it's good.
We're making strides. Well, Perry, hey, man, appreciate you coming in. Happy holidays, and I guess we'll talk to you. We'll see you next week for sure, huh?
Yeah, and happy holidays to you, too. And for you people getting out to some games, enjoy it, and it's just kind of fun to see fans back at games and things like that. So I appreciate the time, Scott.
Yeah, you got it. That's going to do it for our last show of 2021. A reminder coming up on the PSP network is we will be next. We got hockey tonight. Jamestown is in town to take on Minot. Nick Hallberg will have the call for you on that one right here on the PSP network. And then Todd and Chuck will be back with you on Tuesday our final WD game before the Christmas break. St. Mary's will travel down and take on Bismarck High. And also there will be hockey there, as that will be Bismarck High. And I got to turn the flashlight on. Bismarck High travels up to take on Minot. And then on the 27th, we will have 27th, 28th, and 29th. We will have all 12 games for you from the Mandan Holiday Tournament coming up right here on the PSP Network, and that will round out our coverage for the 2021 season. Hey, we want to thank all of our guests this morning: Jim Petrick from Legacy, Shaun Henderson from Mandan, Bill Shetler from Bismarck High, and also a big thanks to Perry Hanson from the HOOPTER and Miss HOOPTER coming in and breaking down the state of North Dakota. From all of us at the PSP Network, have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and until next time in 2022, Scott Woodmansee saying so long from the Stadium Lodge.
This has been a presentation of the PSP Network. We thank you for listening to Overtime with Scott Woodmansee, live from the stadium. Make sure to head to the social media platforms for the PSP Network to like and follow, to stay up to date with all things sports in Western North Dakota. PSP Network, it's game day.